Today is July 13. It's just after 9 a.m. here. In northern Vietnam this morning, I'm driving along one of the newest highways connecting Thai Nguyen. With the surrounding province, the weather is beautiful. The sky is clear, the mountains in the distance are covered in green. Traffic is moving smoothly. It's the kind of morning that makes you want to slow down and simply look around. As I drive, I can't help thinking about how different this journey would have been not very long ago. Years ago, roads like this didn't exist. Traveling between cities often meant narrow roads, heavy traffic, and much longer travel times. Today, I can drive for kilometers on a modern highway, surrounded by forests, hills, and new industrial areas. Sometimes people think a highway is just a road, a strip of asphalt connecting one place to another. But here in Vietnam, these roads represent something much bigger. They represent opportunity. Every kilometer built brings people closer together, closer to work, closer to education, closer to hospitals, closer to their families. As I continue driving, I notice something interesting. Toward me are all kinds of vehicles, large container trucks carrying products that will soon travel across the world, small delivery vans bringing goods to local businesses. Families driving together on weekend trips, workers heading toward another busy day, and more electric vehicles than I remember seeing just a few years ago. Every one of them is part of the same story of a country that keeps moving forward. When many people outside Vietnam think about this country, they often picture crowded streets filled with motorbikes, and while motorbikes are still an important part of daily life, they are no longer the only picture. Modern highways now connect cities that once felt far apart. New bridges cross rivers that used to slow every journey. Industrial parks continue to grow across northern Vietnam, and every new connection creates another opportunity for millions of people. Looking out through my windshield this morning, I realize I'm not only driving through a landscape, I'm driving through change itself. To my left are green hills that have stood here for thousands of years. To my right are new factories that didn't exist a generation ago. Nature and progress sharing the same horizon. I think that's one of the things I admire most about this country. Vietnam isn't standing still, but it also isn't forgetting where it came from. The mountains remain, rivers continue to flow, farmers still work there. And yet beside them, new businesses, new technology, and new industries continue to grow. Many of the people using this highway every day are helping build products that will be shipped to countries all around the world. Some work in electronics, some in manufacturing, some in logistics. Others simply use these roads to visit family on weekends or return home after a long day at work. A road doesn't ask where you're going, it simply helps you get there, and perhaps that's why roads have always fascinated me, because every vehicle carries a different dream. Someone is driving toward their first job. Someone is delivering goods that support a small business. Someone is taking their child on a family trip. Someone is returning home after months away. Thousands of journeyson roaders, I continued driving through Thai Nguyen this morning. I begin to understand that the real story isn't about concrete or asphalt. It's about what those roads make possible. They connect factories with port cities, with rural community as students, with university as spoonies, with customers' families, with one another. Road beneath my wheels is quiet, but it's helping write one of the biggest stories in modern Vietnam. And today, as we continue this journey together, I want to show you why these highways are changing much more than the way people travel. They are quietly changing the future of an entire nation. Asterisk, as the highway continues stretching toward the horizon, I begin thinking about something we often take for granted. Most people see a road as a way to get from one place to another, but in Vietnam, a road can completely change the future of a town. Not long ago, many of the areas around here were known mainly for farming. Rice fields, tea plantations, and small villages filled the landscape. Life moved at a slower pace. Young people often left their hometowns, searching for better opportunities in larger cities. Today, the story is becoming very different. As new highways connect northern Vietnam, factories, distribution centers, and technology companies are finding it easier to invest here. Places that once felt far away are now only an hour or two apart. For many families, this has changed everyday life in ways they never imagined. A father can leave home in the morning, work at a modern factory, and still return in time for dinner. A student can travel to a university more easily than before. Small business owners can receive supplies faster and deliver products to customers across the country. One road creates thousands of new possibilities. During through Thai Nguyen, you can clearly see this transformation. Industrial parks continue to expand. Modern warehouses stand beside green hills. Large trucks move efficiently along the highway, carrying products that will soon be shipped around the world. Inside those factories, millions of electronic devices are designed, assembled, and tested by Vietnamese workers. Many of them are young people who grew up only a short drive from where I'm traveling today. Years ago, they might have needed to leave their hometown to find these opportunities. Today, many can build their careers much closer to their families. I think that's one of the biggest changes these roads have brought. They don't simply connect cities, they help people stay connected to the people they love. As I continue driving, I pass another exit leading toward an industrial. Hundreds of vehicles enter every morning. Thousands of workers arrive with different dreams. Some are saving money to buy their first home. Some want to support their parents. Others hope to give their children better opportunities. Then they had themselves every car, every bus, and every motorbike carries a story that no one else can see. Sometimes when people talk about economic growth, they focus on numbers. Investment text numbers are important, but from where I'm sitting behind the steering wheel, the real story feels much more personal. It's the story of a young graduate finding a good job without moving hundreds of kilometers away, it's the story of grandparents seeing their grandchildren more often. Because travel has become easier, it's the story of small family businesses reaching customers they never could before. Progress isn't only measured in statistics, it's measured in time saved on the road, time spent with familiar, time invested in new opportunities. That's why every new highway means so much more than concrete and steel. It gives people something that cannot be replaced: more time to live. Yes, the mountains slowly pass by outside my window. I realize these beautiful landscapes have witnessed generations of change. The mountains haven't moved, the rivers still flow in the same direction, but the lives of the people living here continue to evolve. That's the remarkable thing about Vietnam. The country is moving forward at an incredible pace, yet it still feels deeply connected to its roots. Maybe that's why every journey along roads like these tells the stories at the same time about where Vietnam has been and another about where Vietnam is going. And as long as these roads continue reaching farther across the country, they will continue carrying not only people and products, but also the hopes and dreams of millions of Vietnamese families. As my journey continues, I begin to notice something else. These highways aren't only changing how Vietnamese people travel, they are changing the way the world sees Vietnam. Over the past few years, I've read many comments from people who visited this country for the first time. Some came from America, others from Canada, Australia, France, Germany, and many other places. Most all of them said the same thing. Vietnam was nothing like they expected. Many imagined a country that was still developing slowly. Instead, they found modern expressways, large industrial parks, international airports, fast-growing cities, and an economy that seemed full of energy. On visitor wrote that every time he returned to Vietnam, another bridge had opened and another highway had been completed. Donathan neighborhood had appeared, joked that his GPS was becoming outdated faster than he could update it. He smiled when I read that, because many Vietnamese feel exactly the same way. Sometimes we drive through an area we haven't visited for a year, and suddenly there's a brand new road, a new shopping center, an entirely new residential community. The speed of change can surprise even the people who live here. As I continue driving through Thai Nguyen, I pass another highway exit leading toward one of the industrial zones. Thousands of people use this road every single day. Indigenous factory workers, truck drivers, business owners, suppliers, students beginning their careers. Every person has a different destination, but together they represent something much bigger. They represent a generation helping build a new Vietnam. When people talk about development, they often think about large companies and impressive buildings. But every successful economy is built by ordinary people. Woman opening her small coffee shop before sunrise, the mechanic repairing delivery vans, the truck driver traveling across province, construction workers building the next section of highway teachers, preparing the next generation of them appear on television yet. Without them, none of this progress would be possible. Semitums. I think the most beautiful thing about these roads is that they connect dreams. A teenager in a small town now has easier access to universities so local business can deliver products across the country in less time. Parents working in modern factories can still return home to have dinner with their children. A journey that once took half a day now takes only a few hours. That extra time becomes breakfast with family afternoon, with grandparents a weekend at home instead of on the road perhaps. That's the greatest gift modern infrastructure can give, and not simply speed but time for the moments that matter most. As the mountains continue to roll past outside my window, I realize something: these roads aren't replacing the Vietnam I grew up with. They are helping write the next chapter of its story. The tea hills are still here. The villages are still here. The warm smiles are still here. But now they're connected by roads that allow more people to discover them than ever before. Maybe that's why I'm so optimistic when I drive through places like this, because every kilometer reminds me that progress isn't about leaving the past behind. It's about creating more opportunities while carrying our values into the future. And if Vietnam can continue doing that, then these highways will become much more than roads. They'll become the paths that millions of people use to build better lives for themselves and for the generations that follow. Asterisk. As my journey through Thai Nguyen slowly comes to an end, I begin thinking about the road behind. It's easy to look at a highway and only see concrete, steel, and asphalt, but after spending years driving across Vietnam, I've come to believe that every road tells a much bigger story. It tells the story of a country that refused to stand still. A country that chose to keep moving forward one step at a time. When people ask how Vietnam has changed so much, I don't immediately think about skyscrapers or factories. I think about mornings like this: a father driving to work knowing he'll be home in time to have dinner with his familiar young graduate starting the first day of a new career truck, carrying products proudly made in Vietnam to ports that connect our country with the rest of the world. A small business owner receiving customers from places that once felt impossibly far away. These are the quiet changes that rarely make international headlines, but together they are transforming millions of lives. I look toward the mountains in the distance, being reminded that nature has always taught us something important: nothing grows overnight. The tallest trees began as tiny seeds, strongest rivers begin as small streams, and perhaps the same is true for a nation. Hungry change doesn't happen because of one project or one company. It happens because millions of ordinary people choose to work a little harder every single day. That is the Vietnam I see through my windshield. Not only a country building new highways, but a country building confidence, building opportunities. Building Hopetha is a saying that every road leads somewhere here in Vietnam. I believe every new road leads to possibly for a child to receive. A better education possibility for a family to build a better future possibility for a small town. To become a thriving community possibility for dreams that once seemed too far away. As the traffic flows quietly around me, I notice something beautiful. Highway is carrying more than vehicles, it's carrying ambition, it's carrying determination, it's carrying the belief that tomorrow can be better than today, and perhaps that's what has impressed so many visitors who return to Vietnam after many years. They don't only notice the new bridges or wider roads, they notice the optimism. They notice the confidence, they notice a country that believes in its future. Without forgetting its past, that's a difficult balance for any nation to achieve. It every day Vietnam continues trying golf course. There is still work to do. Every developing country faces challenges. There will always be new problems to solve and new goals to reach, but when I look around today, I don't only see construction, I see progress, I see people creating opportunities not only for themselves, but for the next generation, maybe. That's the true meaning of development, simply building taller buildings, but building a better life on familiar one community own road at a time. As I reach the end of today's drive, I realize something. A few years from now, this highway may look different again. There may be more electric vehicles, more businesses, more families traveling together, more stories waiting to be told, and perhaps one day someone watching this video will drive along this same road and remember what it looked like in 2026. They'll realize they weren't just watching traffic. They were witnessing a chapter in Vietnam's journey. Thank you for joining me on another drive through my country. Road has a destination, but the journey is what helps us understand the people who travel. If this is inside Vietnam, and tomorrow we'll continue discovering another ordinary road with another extraordinary story. Until then, take care. Thank you for driving with me.